Is that right? Like you watch me go through the hard shit. So like for me, like setting up and going, like you watch me go from, because at first I wasn't even certified as a trainer. So like having a space you can train out of when you don't have a certification is very limited. So you watch me go from the Dredges, which was the spot right across from East High School, Cristiano's spot, right? So he had like this amazing big space in Rondequoit, which did well, but he ruined it with his own jealousy, greed, and everything else. So he had to choose this bottom barrel space above Lorraine's because nobody would rent to him. I had to go to this guy and train there because nobody would let me train without certification, right? But I was smarter than the average trainer. I just never took the test. So I was like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. And they were like, again, insurance. I found insurance. I was insured. I was like, what you're saying doesn't make, but they didn't care. All they cared about was that piece of paper. So I said, you know, fuck it. Like, again, my people are entrepreneurs. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I just didn't know, right? So again, when you got outlaws as family members, you see how to work outside the system. So for me, that's how I figured it out. I was like, again, I'm not doing what y'all say. I'm gonna figure it out another way. So when I did start to figure it out, again, from that space, because you remember me training the space, you were at Afonte at the time, and that space was terrible, bruh. There was water, they had leaks in the ceiling. Some of the machines would be unusable because shit just wasn't working. So that's where my ingenuity started, right? And then I started realizing that people were coming in. Again, when you're in the box, they're telling you how the box works. I was never in the box. So I was watching people fail and come to me because I was outside the box. So that's what made me start thinking different. Then I read the Blue Ocean strategy book. As soon as I read that, I was like, I got it. It's functional. If I can go functional, I can give, because I knew enough to help people. Fair. I knew enough to help people physical therapy wise, but I'm not a physical therapist. So I was like, well, how do I change and give people what they need? That's where I came up with functional training, right? I was a broken up bodybuilder who had to come from the other side, Blue right? Ocean. Huh? Blue Ocean, yeah, Blue Ocean. It's there might be like one or two other words to it, but Blue Ocean strategy is like the strategy I use, right? And again, you read these books about wealth, and you just learn, and that's literally what I did. So once I saw that, like you were competing, me and you were like on different sides, competing, not competing, right? Same field, same clientele loops, just different areas. So like I was always like, man, I gotta go get clients at first, and then you were still on that. I wasn't anymore. I was niche. I'd done the bodybuilding thing. I understood. I was like, I'm not looking for nobody. Right? And me and my boy was competing. We were killing shows. People were coming to us, right? So I didn't have to do any of that, right? So all that's what I mean. You saw me do it from the beginning. Because I remember, not, maybe you don't remember, I gave Danny all of my clients to switch gears because I didn't want no friction and for him to like go come after me for nothing. So I was like, I'm done with this, the bodybuilding thing. I'm gonna just help people on a regular basis. Right? Split ways, different gyms, whole nine. I started at zero again. You get what I'm saying? That was 2 years in. I was 2 years into the game. And I had just said, I'm good. And I was making good money, but it wasn't sustainable. Like you said, I couldn't do that forever. I couldn't deal with the 2 o'clock calls for hot sauce. Like I was like, yo, I can't do this, son. Like as a married man, yeah, bodybuilders call you the dumbest things. Right? And it's because they need that support though. It's not something. So I was taking all that stress. We had 20 people. I was always getting the calls. I was up from 1 o'clock till past because of that. Fair? Oh, careful. So you're good. So for me, that's what that was. Fair? So a lot of my sit down and other things had to do with that. I was like, yo, I'm not trying to fight and compete for the next 4 years on some stuff that I don't even want to compete about. Right. That was all it was for me. I was like, I do not want to play the compete game at all, my brother. So that's why, but also, see, that's why, like now when we meet up, your conventional knowledge is against my unconventional knowledge. And that's where a lot of our conversations, he's like, nah, I know what I'm talking about. I was like, you do, but you're still wrong. Like, and it's all because of the routes that we took. For the average client, who you're trying to get back to, let's say, point A, great advice. I'm not trying to get clients to point A. I'm trying to help clients literally get past what point A even looks like for them. I'm trying to change what you do. So because I took the functional training approach, which is a physical therapy type approach to movement or full functional movement, it's just different, and the basis is different, and that's how I got into athleticism training in the first place. I realized if we can get people back to being springy and moving, so many things fix themselves. So that's where most of that stuff came from. But yeah, believe me, it ain't easy, but at the same time, again, you remember calls, text messages. I was cold calling people. Like, you remember cold calling is rough. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? I don't care what field you in. Cold calling is rough. Yes.
You feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
Especially for
that's what I'm saying. I don't even know who you are. You trying to talk to me about something? Get off my line. It's literally the field. And it doesn't matter what you do. I used to think, oh, if I'm not a telemarketer, it'll be fine. Nah, sales is sales, right? And again, everybody don't know you. I grew this from nothing. No one knew me in this area. No one knew about us in this area. We weren't on their map or their radars at all. Then people walked by and saw people getting better. You got your in-house testimonials from people who are here. Literally, my clients make people feel welcome. I'm not even saying anything. I'm like, we're doing something right. That's literally what it was for me across the board. So yeah, man, I'm grateful as hell. But at the same time, I'm waiting for him to come along so he can put this nutrition piece on it, and I can quit that piece.
For who?
I was just thinking in my head. I was like, So for a while, we tried to meet on Saturday for my Saturdays in a row. Shit kept popping up.
Thank you, man.
Fair.
Good job.
It was on my side at one
Good
time
job,
and yours
bro.
on another. We'll make
I'll
it
see you
work.
Friday.
We'll make it work. Yeah. Soon. Hit me. Yeah. I look, and you know what it is? I ain't got, look, I see you. I have a busy summer and I got a little one, so my sleep is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I've been up since 1 o'clock.
Make sure you stretch on Friday.
Listen, I had pre-workout twice today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's either coffee or pre-workout. It's like, gotta get it in. So yeah, we'll talk. Hit me up for sure. Remind me, I forget. Okay. Yes, sir. Hit me.
Peace out, D.
Got you. Peace. I mean, that kind of like halfway puts us in because I was recording most of that. So.
Oh, shit. I wish I knew.
I said I might as well record it. We done had a couple like great off-camera moments.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Like, and again, I know I don't do this on purpose. Emily, shouts out to Emily. She made me very aware that I give out my story in segments. She's like, why are you always not telling people? Yo, you ask for help, but you always trying to take everything on by yourself. And I said, I'm not trying to. I'm used to. Right? There's a very large difference. Like, it's not that I want to do it by myself. It's that I literally was stuck in the mindset of, oh, I'll just do it. I know it's done right if I do it. Type of stuff.
Yeah, if I don't do it,
it don't get done.
Yeah, it won't get done.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I had to learn like how to delegate, how to accept help, how to work with folk, and all the other things involved. Right. For me. The fitness journey was the catalyst for the rest of my life, and I think a lot of people are starting to get that from here. They're like, oh, by doing this, it's not that I'm not strong or weak, it's that I'm just not strong enough, and it's something I can work on, it's something I can control. I'm watching people take their lives back, right, which is fire.
And it's beautiful. I think you just said it's not that I'm weak, I'm just not strong enough. For me, I feel like it was a realization. It's not that I'm not strong enough. I just don't have the technique.
Fair.
Yeah.
Also works too. Yeah. A lot of this journey is insane. Look, that wasn't even what we was going to talk about. You brought up some other topic. What was the topic you wanted to talk about?
Well, I don't know if this was a topic, but
Sure.
Ivy brought it up at the beginning of training.
Okay.
Was talking about like physiology.
Physiology?
Yeah, physiology
I got you.
of her body being like, I don't want my quads to get big or get bulky, and I hear that a lot. I don't hear it as much in this space, honestly.
Yeah, well,
but I
there's a
have
difference.
heard that in my fitness career.
Yeah, so there's a difference. So at one point, you got to realize, like, let's say, because Ivy is an older client, and that's important to the conversation. Ivy is anywhere 50 up, right? So that's extremely important for the conversation. Because at the time where Ivy's was at in her 20s and 30s,
The ballerina body.
right? That was the body. The body was slim and just looked great. Look at people like J-Lo, right? J-Lo looked completely different as a fly girl to as she does now.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just say perception of what strength looks like and is acceptable has changed.
Yeah.
So a lot of that comes from that, right? Which is why when she said it, I asked her, I was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, because I said, well, I think it's more accepted now for women to have great quads. It's not considered weird anymore.
Yeah.
It's not considered, oh, you gotta be a bodybuilder and ugh.
I'll be coming back in.
Fair. So a lot of that stuff is how you hold yourself accountable and in space to make sure you got to cut, to make sure you're getting what you actually need. So I think it's great. I think that are old perceptions, maybe things that limit you, but you have the ability to change it. So when she said that, I remember there's been a couple times people have come to me and like I said, I'm an old dog for a couple different reasons, and one of them is like that's how I survived and got through. So a lot of stuff that we talk about, I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm telling you, that's how I operate, right? And lately, because everyone understands that, the space feels better.
Yeah.
Fair. Versus before when I was like not tiptoeing around but not addressing either.
Yeah.
And that became something. And again, who wants a leader that shies away from conflict? You get what I'm saying? I don't. Maybe some of y'all do. Maybe you want your leader to do whatever everybody say and all the other stuff. I never wanted to be that guy. I'm not looking for conflict, but I'm not against it either. And because of that, I think that creates a different, like for everyone, which is why you don't hear that, which is why the women in here are strong as hell. If you go to other spaces, it's like, no, these ladies do everything. There is no, they only do leg exercises strong. It's like, no, these ladies got pull-ups, they got push-up game. They're upper body, lower body, and full body strong, which is great.
Functional.
So, yeah, perception. How you perceive yourself is big, and it can change your journey, for sure. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna point out, like, me and Darnell were talking, and again, similar thing. I had my knees hurt my whole life, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, but he knows well enough to like phrase it in a way that isn't offensive, but. Again, the way that is like he was like, my knees have been hurt since I'm 12, bro. There's no way that you can help me here, right? And then every time he comes in, I prove I can, right? And that builds trust with you and your clientele. So like that's why instead of just saying you're wrong, he said to let you know this is something I've dealt with for a long time. I highly doubt this is gonna help. And then we give a thing, and then boom, right?
Fix it.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to give people. Like functional training was the thing we chose because I really believe it can help people heal, right? Like fully heal the body. I did the research, I looked it up, I understood the concepts. I said, let's go for it. The average person should be functional training, just all around, right?
So it makes sense.
So many people are athletes. So many people want to move better and feel better. It doesn't make sense to keep doing things that make it worse. Fair, but that's what happens. Your average gym is absolutely set up for that.
Yeah.
Fair. Just thinking about our Monday consult, who does not want to talk about nutrition at all.
Who are you talking about?
Carol.
Okay, yeah.
Carol didn't want to talk about nutrition at all. She's like, I just want to move. But at the same time, not talking about nutrition. Carol's had some health complications and issues.
Can limit your consistency and how you can move. Yeah.
Correct. To tell someone, like, if you don't want your coach to be honest with you to a point where you have to make a change based on what you're asking them to help you fix,
then you're probably not ready for your fitness journey.
Probably shouldn't be coached.
Yeah.
You should probably just be where, you want an exercise plan, get an exercise plan, keep yourself accountable. If you want to pay someone just to watch you work out, you can do that too, right? But like, I didn't set out to do that, which is why even when Carol did come in, I was just like, no, we're going to talk about this instance first. So, because again, accountability needs to be necessary.
Oh yeah.
Fair, and I think it changed our conversation in a good way, right? I would say as an owner and a coach, one of my biggest fears is losing people I know I could help. fair. Like, I don't want to lose someone I know I have an answer to help as far as like knowledge, but being able to connect the knowledge is big.
I don't know. I'm smiling because it's funny you said that. I was talking to Cass.
Okay.
Cass just came back.
Right. Yes. She was here Saturday.
I was like, I think I didn't acknowledge until you came back that was a fear of mine, and that it cropped up when you left. You know.
Fair.
I was like, all right, I know I can help Cass, and then the back out felt terrible to me.
Fair.
You know, but I realized we've had a few people back out.
Yeah.
You know, we've also had a few people come back.
Fair.
And the people who backed out and haven't been back, I feel less like I could help with how open they were to help.
Fair.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I could help everyone, and it's really dependent on how ready you are to be helped. And that was healing for me, because it's like I can literally help everyone, and the better I get at this, the more I do it, the more I feel confident in that.
Yeah. Would you say, and again, it's just a draw conclusion, so it makes more sense for you and everything you want to do. So like, when you first came in, you were, let's call it selectively mute, right?
Yeah.
Like, you would speak when you wanted to, you would see something, you would say nothing, just because, you know, there was fear around being direct with a person. Confrontation, let's call it confrontation for the sake of people watching, right? And when you were afraid of confrontation, you saw when you were right, when you were wrong, and also, damn, I could have been helpful there, right? So then you started to build the resistance to just trying to say something. And like, I think watching how people received that changed your willingness to be open and perceptive and talk, right? Because your fear was unfounded, right? It was an unfounded fear. And when I say it was unfounded, for clarity,
There's no evidence.
There was no evidence here. There may have been evidence in other spaces.
In the past.
Right? Yes.
But that's not this.
Which you use as your experience then tells you what the next thing is, right? So we all use our experience to create how we move in space. I just usually use mine. I use mine in whatever way. Sometimes it's positive, it's negative, but I realize what was positive and negative, which allows for me to go forward.
Being aware. Yeah.
Right. Being aware of what it actually was. A negative experience doesn't mean you're a negative person. A negative experience means that you had a negative reaction to a moment. Again, get bigger with it. Do the next thing. Go positive next time. I can change it. I think that in the beginning, I'm asking you actually. Do you think that the unfounded moment based on previous or having those bad experiences before shaped how selectively mute you were?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fair.
As I unpack more of it, it's like I feel like I've unlocked my throat chakra, but I also, in the same sense, feel there's more cleaning to do. If that makes sense.
To me, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more of my voice I can find. There's better ways of expressing. Right now, I feel like I'm yelling a little bit. You know.
Yeah, you got called out for that today. That was funny.
A good example was over Sunday. I was telling Em about this. We were running. You guys were walking. When we finished running, so like a dude in a golf cart, creepy, came up, made some inappropriate comments to the group. Everyone felt awkward. He rode off on his golf cart, and it just kept moving, right? Later on that day, I'm zoning out, replaying it in my head, because, you know, I'm leading this community run until the Lilac. Shouts out to the Lilac Run. But I didn't say anything in that moment. And I'm zoning out being like, damn, I should have said something. I actually did have something to say. And as I'm replaying the scenario, I realized there were some cops in the background with some dogs. And I didn't take that into account. That actually made me revert back into a selectively mute spot.
Fair.
Just because of my history with the police, to be real. So I had to forgive myself in that moment, realize that was there, forgive myself, and be like, oh yeah, of course I didn't speak up in that moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, much deeper topic, and I'll try not to get into it too much, but let's just say learning to being selectively mute isn't necessarily an issue, it's just using your voice more. So like, again, that played into how you shaped everything else, right? Even when you first came in here. And now you're starting to use your voice more. You're realizing that using your voice more is what you want to do. And then you have moments like that. See, I think, and again, this applies to client journeys too. You make the wrong mistake, you dwell on the wrong mistake, you stay on the wrong mistake. And then the mistake is the only thing you can think about until there's never a point of even a solve. Like, again, and I say this cautiously because I try not to put like too much race or anything else in things we do. But at the same time, it is very aware of you to realize that the potential of your response could be the problem for everyone. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like it's not the same. Like I wouldn't view that as the same thing. Right now, I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what happened. But I would not view that. Ironically, everyone can't do things the same way, and they shouldn't. Part of the beauty of being you is that there was a response that only you could have gave. Fair?
Right.
Leaning into that is how you win. Saying nothing might have been the right call. You get what I'm saying? So you were beating yourself up about it, but like, you know how many times I've had to be quiet? And if I had, and how many situations I got myself into because I was talking too much. You get what I'm saying? It could go either way.
Fair.
So instead of reflecting on it as a loss, you should reflect on it as an action you can grow from.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It was like being like, we can use step, and then we're gonna close this video in like 4 minutes. But like we can use step from yesterday. I was like, you know, I hate coming to your class. It's not you. It's everybody else. I hate the way they respond to me on the side. They still view me as coach or the owner, and I like great, but at the same time, I'm here to support you, and I want you to be the focus, right? But there's an uncomfortability that comes with that allows for a situation of growth. So for instance, you had like you had a couple late calls, right? And it happens, it's fine. Like, but the thing was like, they kept asking me so much, I had to become loud about them being late, which I didn't have to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could have just been like, you know, I just missed it, whatever. But my ego kicked in. My ego kicked in, and I was like, man, it was fucking late. I'm gonna miss the late call because it's late, right? But I could have just simply said, yeah, I missed it. But because they kept messing with me about it, my ego, my pride kicked up, right? Was I wrong? Knowing what I said, yes, and how I delivered it. We could have had that talk today. I didn't have to do that. So like, to err is to be human. Fair, to make the mistake, but I know I can come to you. We have a good relationship, so I can say to you, yeah, I messed that up. Fair? And it gives you a chance to learn and reflect too. So to say something all the time is not the way to live. Sometimes not saying something is exactly what needs to be said.
Fair.
2 more minutes. Fuck it, we done.
We done.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Peace.
Like and subscribe.